YouTube, what's going on? It's James and Make an Opening. And listen, legendary cards, they're expensive now. With news coming out that they're not going to be reprinting the first set, Spark Rebellion, until before the holidays, and boxes being allocated 1 to 3, 4, maybe even 5 boxes to a store per month. Product is looking very thin. Legendary cards are pretty important staples to most decks, especially if you want to be competitively viable. Take them to the store showdowns, try to win those coveted Mace Windu promotional cards, and then even just take them to your local 1Ks, 5Ks. The lists that are topping those events, they have the legendary cards in them, and then typically when they win, those legendaries go up even more in price. So whether you're trying to make a deck to play competitively, you're tired of the starter decks, you're tired of doing bulk common, uncommon decks, and you just want to make something that's a little bit more viable to take to some tournaments, or even if you're just a brand new player who hasn't gotten your hand on any of the product and you don't want to spend $300 on a playset of Vaders, today we're going to go over some replacements for those legendary cards. In today's episode, we're going to go over the replacements for the main legendary cards that are in the villany category. So there's going to be 4 of those we're going to be going over today. So without further ado, let's go ahead and see how we can save ourselves some money. We're going to be starting from the least expensive to the most expensive. So there's also going to be timestamps down in the description below if you're looking to save on a specific unit. So without further ado, let's get right into this. So starting off, we have the Devastator. It is a 10 resource command villainy Imperial vehicle capital ship. It is a 10 for 10/10 Sentinel. Overwhelm. When played, you may deal damage to a unit equal to the number of resources you control. Now this is just a late game bomb. It's mainly going to be used in like ramp style decks, not necessarily control, but maybe even control. It'd be a pretty good sideboard into like a control mirror matchup if you are going green villain. The main command or control decks I've been seeing in villainy are like blue red, but green can work as well. So green lists are performing still. So I don't really see it as a really good main deck card, especially if you're taking it to a tournament and you're going to be running into a bunch of aggro and mid-range decks as well, like Sabine, Leia, Boba Fett. I'm just not 100% sure how impactful Devastator is going to be. Now, this is the cheapest of the legendary villainy unit cards, and it's $14.50 as of right now, recording right now, which is about 2 o'clock on the 25th of April. So the prices could go up. I just think a pretty good replacement is just going to be Relentless. It is a 9 resource command villainy Imperial vehicle capital ship. It's an 8/8. It's not a big Sentinel body, but it does still have basically protection from removal. And what that means is Sentinel sort of helps you protect your other spaceships from taking damage. It also helps you prevent their big space units from getting into your base, like it helps prevent Avenger attacks into your base and stuff like that. With Relentless, it actually the first event played by each opponent each round loses all abilities, which is pretty good. That in and of itself really is a good card into control matches as well, where Devastator is going to be the best against control decks. Relentless is probably going to be a little bit better. And then obviously on Devastator, it says when played, you may deal damage to a unit equal to the number of resources you control. If you play this when you have 10 resources, when played, you're going to be dealing 10 damage. There is another card that I think would actually be pretty good if you want to go more so a pair of cards versus just one card. Let me pull that up real quick. For an additional 5 cents, you can get Strike True. It's a 3 resource command, and then a friendly unit deals damage equal to its power to an enemy unit. So yeah, it's not an on play, and it would take 2 actions to do it instead of 1. And then it's going to cost a little bit more as well. This is a 3 resource plus 9 resource, so 12 versus 10. But in doing so, it's a 55-cent pair of cards versus a $14.50 one card. So, a playset would be, $45 versus like $2. So just an idea. It's a pretty good idea. I like this replacement. I couldn't really find a whole lot for Devastator. There's going to be more options for the next cards. And speaking of next cards, let's go ahead and get into card number 2. And that card's actually going to be one of my favorite cards in the game right now. It is Avenger. He is a 9 resource vigilance villainy Imperial vehicle capital ship 8/8, and then when played and on attack, it's probably the best when played and on attack effect in the game. An opponent chooses a non-leader unit they control, defeat that unit. This is a late game bomb staple in control decks, frequently making top cuts. If you want to basically play a control deck, you want to super laser blast into an Avenger. That combo alone is like, $60-70 right now. Avenger by itself is $45. a playset of Avengers is going to put you back $135. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of shmoolah. So the main things the Avenger does, one, it's a huge body. It helps you take over the game. It's best on play and on attack effect in the game, in my personal opinion. I don't know if that's a hot take, but it's pretty good. It also saves you from crucial late game damage as well. So you play it on a board. They have one unit, but it's a pretty key unit for them because, you know, you've been doing your job, you've been controlling, you've been removing stuff, right? But they have a pretty big damage dealing unit on the board. Or they're planning on putting some out on the board in the future. This handles that very well. If they don't have an answer for your Avenger, the game's over if they don't have a board. Some pretty good replacements, I think, are going to be AT Suppressor. This guy right over here. He has an 8 resource vigilance villainy card. He is an 8/8 as well. And when played, you exhaust all ground units. So it's a huge body, just like the Avenger is. It saves you from damage to your base as long as it's like ground units on the field. So just like Avenger, it saves you from taking all that extra damage that you don't want to take. And then if you're able to you ready with this card still on the board, you know, you're doing just as much damage as you are with Avenger. 8 damage to the face. It's very big swing, especially when it comes to control matchups. Or just like control gameplay in general. And then if you take initiative after playing an AT suppressor, AT suppressor, not AT&T, that is a phone company. But if you take initiative, then you can use AT suppressor to take out their big key targets, since you weren't able to do so with Avenger. Now, 10 cents, $45. The choice is yours. That's pretty big savings. That's a 30-cent playset versus a $135 playset. It's pretty good. Some other options that I've thrown in here. Avenger, when played and on attack, is just removal, right? It's just pure removal. It's limitless removal, other than the fact that it can't be a leader unit, which you've typically already dealt with in a control play style by waiting for them to play out their leader to render it useless with cards like Power of the Dark Side, Takedown if you're going against like Idens, Sabines, or you just entrench it and then Super Laser Blast and then it's done, right? But other than that, if you don't have a full playset of Power of the Dark Sides, Takedowns, or Vanquishes in the deck currently, those are pretty good replacements because it is extra removal to put in your deck to further your control game plan. So I feel like all these cards are just really great replacements, or not even just replacements, just fillers. If you already plan on getting Avengers, they're in the mail, but they're taking a while. You saw Guy take down Florida with them and you ordered 3 instantly and you're the reason that the price shot up. Go for it. I ordered mine when they were like $15 each, so I'm fine. But yeah, these cards are pretty good replacements. I know I keep moving my stuff around. I'm getting less space to work with. But next up, the second to most expensive villainy legendary card in the game as of right now is Boba Fett. He is a 3 resource cunning villainy underworld bounty hunter. He is a 3/5. The stats are crazy. It's probably the most overstated card in the entire game. And then on attack, if this unit is attacking an exhausted unit that didn't interplay this round, you get to deal 3 damage to the defender. Pretty good. So why is Boba Fett so good? Well, it clears ground units very effectively. It's really good at setting up tempo. It's good for keeping up with aggro style decks, stealing their aggression, flipping it onto its back, and then, you know, pounding them in with Boba Fett. It is a very hard card to deal with, especially with that 5 toughness. It's a great ECL target as well, especially if you're trying to clear out a leader. If they have a leader that is exhausted, and if it didn't interplay it that round, so say the round before they played it out their Sabine or, you know, anything like that, anything with 6 health or less, and then they attack with it this turn, you ECL out Boba Fett to take it out in one shot with ambush. Pretty good, of course. And it's also just a solid overstated body for $60. It makes sense why the card is $60. So some key cards that I think are pretty good replacements. One of them is going to be Strafing Gunship. So this is a 4 resource cunning card, Underworld Vehicle Fighter. It is a 3/4, and this unit can attack units in the ground arena. So not only can it clear out ground units pretty effectively, like you can with Boba Fett, but it is a body in space So if they are not contesting space and there are contesting, the ground unit arena, this is a good way to not only deal with their threats, but also lane dodge them as well to get in some extra damage to their base once their board is clear. And then while this unit is actually attacking a ground unit, the defender gets -2, -0. So this is effectively a 3 power, 6 toughness card for 4 resources. Very good, very nicely statted. It does cost 1 more than Boba Fett, but when you think about its effective stats, it's a 3/6, so that helps out a lot. This is probably the most expensive replacement card in the entire video. It's $3.75, but that is due to it being a rare card. It's a rare card, and it's just good, especially in cunning decks, so, good card. Next up, we just have Swoop Racer. It is a 3 resource cunning card, fringe, 4/3. It's a ground unit, that's it. So it costs the same, it has 1 more power. So if you're mainly using Boba as a way to take out units pretty effectively with ECL, this is a great ECL target for taking out units with 4 life. Such as, Iden, the leader Iden, as long as she doesn't have a shield. Cards like Scout Bike, Yoda, Admiral Piet, Fifth Brother, Homestead Militia, just off the top of my head, some pretty key cards that are seeing play right now that are at that 4 toughness. And then, it costs the exact same as Boba Fett, 3 resources. Not much else to say about this card. It is 1 cent. It's a common, so it's a 1 cent replacement. If you want to go crazy and do the hyperspaces, it's 25 cents. So not only that, but you can get some bling bling and make it look pretty, like, the one we have on the screen right now. So would you rather spend 75 cents or $180? Again, choice is yours. Now I have a Greedo in here. This one is pretty I don't know. This is probably just me reaching, in all honesty. He is a 1 resource cunning 3/1 Underworld Bounty Hunter, and then when defeated, you may discard a card from your deck, and if it's not a unit, you get to deal 2 damage to a ground unit. So this works really well in the Boba Fett decks that you're running that are a little bit more event heavy. If you're going mono cunning Boba, where it's yellow Boba, it's a pretty good replacement because you have the option to probably hit 5 damage off of 1 card, which is pretty much right up there with Boba Fett. If Boba Fett's attacking an exhaust unit that didn't come in that turn, it's 6. But for 2 less resources, and if you build your deck the right way and don't have a huge metric booty ton of units, and you have a lot of events in there and maybe some upgrades sprinkled in there as well, this has a pretty solid chance of doing 5 damage for just 1 resource. Obviously, you either have to, the unit that you want to take the 5 damage either has to attack into Greedo or you attack into that unit yourself. So it does take a little bit of RNG if they remove it one way, or you probably just want to try and take initiative with this card. But yeah, Greedo, probably a little bit of a stretch, but it's 25 cents, and I think it's a pretty good fit. And then last but not least, we have Rook, specifically paired with Energy Conversion Lab. Why do I have Rook in here with Energy Conversion Lab specifically? Well, typically most Boba Fett decks that are in the current meta that are dominating, the king of the meta since the tournaments have started happening has been Boba Green. You're usually playing yellow-green villain decks with Boba Fett, and Rook is just a perfect fit into those decks, as paired with ECL specifically, because you ECL out Rook, you get ambush for removal, which helps you generate the advantage like you'd be doing with Boba Fett. Same way that if you were to ECL out Boba Fett, you're just generating value, generating advantage. A key combo that's pretty important to know, and most people know it by now, but if not, if you're new and you're looking to get these cards at a lower price, and that's why you're watching the video, thank you, by the way, and welcome to our game. It's super fun. I love playing it. But the combo is to ambush Rook. So his ability, I haven't even really talked about it. He's a 5 resource, 3/6 Imperial shielded. When this unit deals combat damage to a non-leader unit, defeat that unit. So if you're from Magic, it's Death Touch, right? How Rook works. Shielded is a on play, like a when played ability. So when played, you put a shield on this unit. Ambush is also when played. So you ambush out Rook, you kill a target. Rook lives, you put a shield on it. Then you can attack something else with Rook. The shield pops, that dies because it took damage because of Death Touch. And then Rook is still alive to take out 1 more unit. So a 3-for-1 trade on 1 unit is insane. You have to be running ECL, but you typically are playing ECL if you're doing Boba Green. It's super good tempo swing. It's good into big boards, and it's just absolutely insane. Last but not least, we have the king of the game, Darth Vader, commanding the First Legion. He is a 7 resource command villainy Force Imperial Sith 5/7 with 2 when played abilities. So he has Ambush. What Ambush is, I'm sure we know by now, we just talked about ECL, but you attack a unit. You may attack a unit when you play Vader in the same arena. So Ambush, pretty easy. When played, search the top 10 cards of your deck for any number of villainy units with combined cost 3 or less and play each of them for free. Just the amount of action cheating you get off this card, the stats are really well done. It has Ambush. There is a very valid reason for it being $91 as a recording. It peaked over $100 like a week ago, a little over a week ago, but some really good cards that will replace Vader. As you can see, Ruck didn't go anywhere. I think Ruck is an insane replacement. I think it works really well because you're already playing green if you're playing Vader. So if you're running ECL already, just do Ruck for Vader. It doesn't have the really good when played ability, but it has the Ambush for removal. So the main thing you're playing Vader for, it's the best card in the game, right? It's a great card. You get really good card advantage with its on-play ability. You ambush it for removal. If you're mainly playing it to just ambush it out to take out key units, helps you generate advantage, and you can just seal games with Darth Vader in and of itself. That's what Ruck lets you do. It costs 2 less as well. It's just really good. Here we also have Steadfast Battalion. It is a 5 resource command only. It is a 5/5 trooper with Overwhelm. So why this card is pretty important, because Overwhelm helps you push damage to the base to help you seal games, kind of like what you're doing with Darth Vader. Typically it's because you're trying to, push in a bunch of damage, take over the board, control, generate a bunch of advantage, and win the game through damage and just sheer numbers, right? So Steadfast Battalion also pairs with ECL. I probably should have put the ECL right there next to it, but for 50 cents versus $2.25, it's even a little bit less than Ruck. Costs the same. You don't get to take out as many units, but also if you control your leader unit, you get to give a friendly unit +2/+2. So you can ambush in for a 7/7 with Overwhelm. So if you're attacking, a unit with 2, 3, 4 HP, you're going at their base for the excess amount, which just gets you even closer to winning the game. It's just really good card. I feel like it's a pretty good card to go along with. Another good card that I did not put on the list for right here is going to be Mercenary Company. It costs 1 less. It's a 6 cost. It has Ambush and Overwhelm. I'll actually just pull it up right now real quick. Yeah, Mercenary Company, 6 resource, 5/5 Underworld Trooper with Ambush and Overwhelm. 5 cents. So if you're not wanting to play Steadfast Battalion or Ruck, you can go Mercenary Company for 5 cents. It's a common, really good card. Then we also have ATST. This is a 6 resource villainy, 6/7 Imperial Vehicle Walker with Overwhelm. This card's great. Overwhelm to push damage to the base. It helps you seal games. The main thing you're trying to do with Vader, you don't get the whole cheating out units. There's no 1-for-1 replacements in the game because there's only one set. It's impossible to do, right? But we're doing what we can, and ATST is also really good, and it even still pairs with Energy Conversion Lab because it has to cost 6 or less. ATST costs 6, so you can do a 6/7 play with Overwhelm. Like, it's really good. It's honestly really good. And last but not least, my last stretch that I'm going to show you guys, Count Dooku. Typically, you're playing Vader in either villainy ramp decks or villainy control decks for those blue-green lists like Krennic, Iden. Those are basically the 2, Krennic and Iden control decks. Count Dooku is actually a pretty good replacement for Darth Vader. So it has like a pseudo style ambush with its on-play ability, allowing you to defeat a unit with 4 or less remaining HP. It's 7 cost, 5/4 with shielded as well. So it's a force unit as well. That probably won't come into play, but Separatist, Sith. One of my favorite, most exciting keywords in the game, by the way, is Sith. I just wanted to say that real quick. So not only that, but it has really good sticking power with the shield, just like Ruck. It can make very effective trades. So not only when you play it, you're taking something out, you can take something out with an attack while it's shielded, and then you can take something out again with a 3rd attack, similar to Ruck as well. But you don't really need to ECL it out because you can't, because it costs 7 resources. But it has a pseudo ambush trick anyway because of its when played. Also, it has the exact same power as Vader at 5 power, and it costs the same as Vader as well in terms of resources. In terms of real life dollars, one of the cards is $273 for a playset. The other card is $12. So there's a $260 difference. The choice is yours. And yeah, that's been my legendary replacements for all the villainy legendary units. Let me know down in the comment section if you guys want to see more. I'm probably going to link this video to the next video if I remember to go back and do that. The next one I'll probably do the heroic units. There's going to be Luke, Mace Windu, Home 1, Millennium Falcon. There's also Black One. That card's still only like $6-7. I might not even cover that. And then there's a bunch of events we need to cover as well. There's Change of Heart, Force Lightning, Super Laser Blast, the named aspects, Aggression, Vigilance, Cunning, Command. I think that might be all, but I don't know. But let me know if you liked this video down in the comment section below. If it helped you, if you're gonna pick up any of these cards, let me know. I'm happy to help. Love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.